Hello, I am Movac, Medical Operative Variable Automatic Computer. Speaking on the behalf of Galaxy Medical, the most trusted name is Space Search and Rescue. Today I am going to give you some information about Star Citizen's death mechanics by reading the Q&A involving Star Citizen's death of a spaceman question and answer. I will also leave a link below so that you can find this information if they update it someday. Question: what qualifies as a death? Answer: not ejecting before your ship blows up, taking a headshot during boarding, having your ejected pilot or escape pod targeted and destroyed while floating in space. Question: how many lives will I get? Answer: the exact number of lives will be balanced as development of the game progresses. The intention is to allow multiple deaths before you're properly dead. So expect to wake up in the med bay at least half a dozen times if not more. And getting to this point won't be common unless you are participating in a lot of boarding actions or flying in areas where there is no law and order. Please note that it will not ultimately be a single, static counter. Taking different risks and dying in different ways will impact your overall survivability at different rates. Remember, the key to Star Citizen is visceral realism, so while the system works this way under the hood, there's not going to be a life counter at the bottom of your screen. Question: what happens on a disconnect or rage quit? Do I lose a life? Answer: when you disconnect, or otherwise quit in flight, the server attempts to take you to autopilot. If you're in a space instance, i.e. not already in warp/autopilot, and close enough to a hostile, the server will attempt to gain enough separation to enter autopilot. If it's successful, the server will then place your ship back on the planet you last landed on. If not, and you haven't managed to reconnect to your AI-controlled ship before the hostile destroys your ship, it is assumed you ejected successfully and will be returned to the last planet you landed on. If you have insurance, we'll have a new hull waiting for you. We will monitor players' disconnects, and if we feel like you are gaming the system, we may enact a death penalty on you and decrease your internal life count. Question: what are the penalties for targeting an ejected pilot? Answer: players who target helpless ejected pilots in civilized space that don't have an official UEE death bounty on their heads are the scum of the universe and will be treated as such by the authorities and marked for death by other players. Pilots who shoot down ejection pods will have trouble navigating civilized space because the police will be on their tails, and they'll have trouble in the lawless regions, too, because there will be heavy government bounties on their heads, in addition to any player bounties that might be added. Question: how long do I float in space before being rescued? Answer: when you eject in an active battle instance, you can float and watch the action. You can activate your rescue beacon at any time, and when there are no hostiles within a certain distance, the game will fade out, then fade up with a little time later and have an in-engine cinematic of your pilot/pod being tractored into a rescue and recovery vehicle. The game will then cut to the last planet you saved on, and you looking at your new replacement ship, assuming you have insurance. Question: what happens with a headshot in boarding? Answer: a headshot is more likely to be fatal than any other injury. Boarding a ship is an extremely risky proposition. You can gain a valuable prize by capturing another player's property, but you are putting yourself at the most risk possible. It's possible you'll just lose an eye or a jaw, but there's also a very small chance you'll take a laser to the brain and be dead forever. Taking a headshot while defending a ship is usually less fatal. Defending ships will allow their casualties more immediate access to medical facilities. Question: how will you counteract griefing? Answer: we believe this system will actually disincentivize griefers. If you're a player who wants to camp out in a safe area to kill new players, you'll quickly have a bounty on your head, and legal player vs player will be authorized on you. If you target ejected pilots, lethal force on your ejected pilot can be authorized too. Attempting to grief new players will probably hasten your character's death a lot quicker than the new players you're trying to terrorize. We feel that by giving harsh penalties to people that target ejected pilots, allowing most injuries to be survivable, letting players upgrade for survivability to their specifications will help reduce the incentive to grief. But we're also aware that everything will need to be balanced once the game goes live. So that's our most important promise: we will continue to balance this system so that it works rather than allowing it to become a tool for players who want to make the game difficult for others. Question: how can I reduce my chances of dying? Answer: ship upgrades will include a variety of systems designed to increase the survivability of vehicle loss, including improved ejection systems, improved spacesuits and personal shielding, better power plant cores, to give you more time to escape, and various automated systems, so that you can set your fighter to eject you after a certain amount of damage has been suffered. There will also be an upgrade system surrounding your battle damage. If your character loses an eye or an arm and you would like a natural replacement rather than a cybernetic-looking implant, you will be able to pursue these in certain markets. Additionally, there may be certain medical procedures or limb/organ replacements that can increase your lifespan, effectively add a few lives back. Question: is there any way to opt out of the death system? Answer: there is no way to opt out of death in the persistent world, but remember that Star Citizen will include options for running your own server. We'll allow you the option to set the game to infinite lives in this case. Question: will multi-person crews be able to escape the destruction of their ships? Answer: yes, all spacecraft in Star Citizen are being designed to allow crew members to eject or otherwise abandon ship. Question: can I rescue or tractor in an ally? Answer: yes. If you have room and you recover an ejected friend, they can become crew on your ship. In addition, if you rescue other players and survive the battle, you will get a rescue payment from the rescued pilot's ship insurance company once you land on the next planet. Space rescue and recovery is standard on all ship insurance policies. Question: what happens I am captured rather than rescued? Answer: if your escape pod is captured by another player or NPC, your game will continue, but there will be penalties depending on your situation. If you are a criminal and are delivered to a prison planet, for instance, you will need to pay off the authorities to escape. If you are sold into slavery, you will need to buy your freedom. Question: are you concerned that the fear of permanent death will scare players away from combat? Answer: no. We're building a combat game and are going to do everything possible to encourage players to dogfight and otherwise battle each other. In most dogfights, even if your ship is destroyed, you won't lose a life, as it's very likely you will eject in time. Waking up in a med bay with a new limb should be a rare occurrence unless you really like to live in the most dangerous and unregulated parts of the galaxy. The fear of permanent death will cause some anxiety, which will add to the overall experience, but it will be more than countered by the potential rewards. In a world where everyone is vulnerable, no one has an advantage. Question: I already created a backstory for my character, I don't want them to die. Answer: we're letting you know these plans early on so that you can incorporate them into your characters. Note that your next of kin need not be family members, for anyone hoping to role-play a lone wolf character. Question: will I need to play through Squadron 42 a second time with a new character? Answer: no. Everything you earned from Squadron 42 the first time will pass on: citizenship, credits earned, starter ship and the like. If your beneficiary was a citizen, his/her status will pass on down to you as well, with a probation period that you have to perform some actions/missions/job to keep the citizenship in good standing. You will have the option of playing a second campaign if you so desire, but it will not be required. Wow, that was a lot of information to go through, and don't forget to call Galaxy Med before you're dead. Movac out. End transmission.